Good evening. It's Thursday evening, the 17th day of January 2019. And believe it or not, January is almost through. But this is time for Mek We Chat on a Thursday evening. This is where you find us. This is where we hang out in an effort to bring you up to date on some of the stories that we think are important for you to pay attention to. I'm Jerry George. The usual suspects are here tonight. George Grant is at the controls. Catherine is there in London, fully awake. Margaret is in New York. Can't say fully awake, but fully there. Finally, she has looked at the camera. Finally, she has looked at the camera. Right. And Bev Sinclair. Well, as usual, let's find out what our producer has for us this evening. So over to you, Beverly.
Good evening, folks. And first of all, good evening to my fellow suspects here in the chat room for another exciting adventure on Mek We Chat. And an extra special good evening to all the folks who take the time to spend some time with us during this program. This evening, as usual, we always have some very, very tasty things on the menu. We serve things that are easy to digest, and it's no different today. We are going to look a little bit on what's happening over in our former owner's country, the turmoil, the excitement that's happening in the UK as the date for the UK to leave the EU draws closer. And that hard date, for those who have been following, they'll know it's the 29th of March, right, Catherine? And we just want to take a peek at some of the recent developments there. The unions in St. Vincent have been having a lot of airplay over the past few days, and we want to look at some of those issues as well. And this week...
EAR.
They've been getting an earful, and they've been getting a lot of airtime. And our guest from last week, with whom we had technical difficulties, she is expected to join us around 9 o'clock again tonight, so we can look at some issues concerning child protection and the services that are offered or not offered to our children who unfortunately find themselves in state care. So that's what's on the plate this evening. And this is Mek We Chat, so you never can tell. Someone may just open a little goodie bag and pull something out which was not there originally, but that's fine. As long as we can accommodate it, we do.
How long we could digest it, Richard?
As long as we can digest it, we do. But I think we want to get going with Brexit. And I know that suspect in chief, not the one in charge, the one in chief. I know that he follows the Brexit discussions a lot, and Catherine is there. Maybe she can give us a feel. If she can, I don't know how much in touch of the talk on the ground she is. She's shaking her head. She said, no, you stay far from them things.
Silent.
Catherine, you need to go to the pub more often.
That's right.
Right now, I think I lost my faith in the British politics.
Don't use your faith yet. Don't use your faith yet.
Yeah, I lost my faith, but...
Why? Why you lose faith?
The way they carry on. This is really, really, really unacceptable. I'm really, really, really displeased, really disappointed with these people, honestly. I mean...
It's politics.
Sometimes I was a Labour supporter for years in Tony Blair era. Then they changed, then I come to Conservative. Next time, I'm not voting anyway. The British people had their say.
No, you might have a new, next time you might have a new party. Next time you might have a new party that's now the two. So don't be sure.
I, as a British citizen, had my say 2 years ago in 2016. They are the one in their court to play now. What it is they want. Now, they didn't want what Theresa May brought to them. Fine. They rejected it. Now Theresa May said, okay, tell me what you want, then I'll take it to the EU. The EU don't care. That's what the EU offer. The EU don't care. Why? Oh, Theresa May said not to go live with without a deal. That's why she take that deal. What's she gonna do? I don't like this idea, these people. I don't know what is happening. But let me go to plan B. What I'm gonna say, Brexit to the Brexit, I want to leave, and that's it. The people vote to leave and we have to leave. We don't care. Whether it's deal or no deal, where the situation is about.
You just,
Hey, Catherine,
Deal or no deal, get out.
Catherine, why not let the Brits copy Grenada, man? One referendum, not enough. Have another referendum, man. Come on. Until you get it right, just keep having.
Yeah. Until they get it right, till they get a remain vote. That is what the Labour government wants. And it started that there was an opportunity for him to vote Mary out. I could get in the next election and be the leader, man, and stay in the EU. That's all they want to do.
No, I don't think Corbyn stand a chance now.
And staying in the EU to them is easier because they have nothing to do. The EU does everything for you when you're managing your country. The EU does everything for you. It's easier for these people to stay in the EU, in power to stay in the EU. Definitely, yeah. So that's.
But at what cost? At what price?
They don't care. They don't care. Yeah, what price? They don't care. They don't care. You understand? But Brexit, and I'm getting out. Deal or no deal. I feel the same. Whether deal or no deal, I'll feel the same, honestly. Because I don't see where EU comes where they're treating it like if EU is the one that's feeding Britain. Come on. What's going on here? Please. The EU depend on Britain more than Britain depend on EU. Sorry. Because when we leave, they won't be getting all these millions and millions of dollars we have to pay every month. That would be a hole in their financial structure. I can tell you that. And they don't want us to leave. And they do it, making it very hard for us to leave. And they don't realize it's not Theresa May problem, it's the EU. And everything is that woman. I'm really, really sorry for that woman. What she have to. If I was in her position, I would have resigned. I say, you want to do a better job? Do it. Honestly, I would have resigned with all this stupidness. Honestly.
I would not resign and give it to them. So.
Yeah, because they think they could do better.
If it's one thing I agree with Teresa with, I ain't going nowhere. You don't want me out? Get me out.
But they had the opportunity yesterday.
Yes, they did. That's twice.
So that goes to show that with all the talk, really and truly, they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan.
They are cowards.
Definitely.
You know?
Mm-hmm. They are cowards. You don't want it. Well, tell me. Theresa May said, "Now tell me what you want now, and I'll take it to the EU. You tell me what you want."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that the EU said the ball in their court. Tell me what you want in Parliament. I don't know what they want because I don't know what is in the deal. As a citizen, like I don't know what it is, and they're saying, "Oh, he's not representative of the people," and blah 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 and blah blah blah. I don't know what is there.
When I knew things had really changed is when Northern Ireland decided to back Theresa May.
Yeah.
I say, there's more in the matter besides the pressure here. Because they were the ones with the biggest risk in the whole thing. And when they decided to support, I said, you're not telling us all the story here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but just to give our listeners who may not have been paying attention to the UK because of Trumpism, you know.
Because of Margaret.
Margaret and our president.
By the way, could I just jump in here for a minute? Who vexed that lady on the right hand side of the screen there? I mean, I've been hearing from you, Beverly. I'm hearing from Jerry. I'm hearing from
Catherine.
Yeah, and who vexed that lady?
I'm listening.
Oh my gosh, she actually has a tongue. She just spoke.
I'm not sure about that, you see?
I'm listening.
You know, I suspect it might have something. Tonight, I know that she didn't come online eating. So she probably didn't have
missing herself.
I'm stuffed.
You soon tell us what's going on, man. Don't worry. Right.
Well, let me give
the-
a little bit of a synopsis of what has been happening. So after the referendum on June 23rd, I think, 2 years ago, the people of Britain voted that they wanted to leave the European Union. There was a huge campaign, and it worked out so much that the people said they wanted to leave. Shortly after that, Prime Minister, what's his name again? David Cameron. Yeah, left because he said he didn't think that he had what it takes to bring it in, so he left. They chose Theresa May as the Prime Minister. They triggered what was called Article 50. Article 50 is the article that speaks to leaving the European Union, and it sets the date. It set the date as March, 2 years after, March 29th. All right? So ever since then, there's just been nothing short of political turmoil in Britain. And it's not just in Britain, but aided and abetted a lot by the European Union, who has been playing some kind of funny game on the whole issue of Brexit. They've been hard, incalcitrant in terms of the deal and stuff. And it seems that the Remainers were getting their way in terms of, well, let's have another referendum to see if we should stay. And that only angered those who had voted to go, the Brexiters. And they say, well, if that ever happens, it will really mean the death of democracy, because the people, after a big campaign, voted they wanted to leave, and there were people who are now trying to circumvent that whole process. Long and short, Theresa May suffered an internal vote of confidence, where the party was basically saying, voted to see whether or not they had confidence in her. She succeeded that. She then continued to work the deal out with the European Union. By this time, the European Union sensed blood because they realized that there's a lot of confusion in Britain, and they weren't going to do anything to help it. So they played hardball. Theresa went and she came, and she went and she came. And the last deal they had is the one that's presented to Parliament 3 days ago. And the Parliament voted it down 402 to, I can't remember the other figure. But it's
to 100 or 200 and something.
203 or something like that.
200 and something.
Yeah. So it's the biggest defeat in Parliament historically. So one would have thought at that point that that was the end of Theresa May. When the opposition leader, Corbyn, saw that happen, he immediately moved a motion of no confidence in Her Majesty's government. So that was debated the next day. But as most smart people recognize, Theresa May was going to succeed, and she did. She won by not a whole load of votes, but she won. And so that has given her some more life to try and meet with all of the objectives to see how they can have this breakaway from the European Union. There's an option that is open for them to break away without a deal, meaning that they do not have a deal with the European Union. But what that will mean is that trading and our relationship with the European Union will now resort to World Trade Organization rules. There are some people who fear that. There are some people who actually embracing that and say that is what should happen, because they're saying that there are so many other countries, China, Japan,
Grenada,
the Caribbean.
Right. All of these countries basically trade under World Trade Organization rules, and they're saying, what's the demon in it? But when you trade under EU rules, they are very strict and stringent. And so there are people saying, leave the EU, let's go. But just this afternoon, I was listening to there's a lot of propaganda on this story, you know. But the one that first struck me was the fact that Britain is the 5th largest economy in the world. Now, if Britain by itself, Britain is a small country, right? An island in all of the EU. And yet in their position in the world, they are 5th. The economy is actually bigger.
Behind countries like China and the US.
China, the United States, Japan. Who am I missing? China, the United States, Japan. I'm missing somebody there.
Singapore?
But anyway, say again?
Singapore?
No. I think the European Union is fourth and Britain is fifth. Right. So you have Britain by herself as one of the smallest countries still within the European Union, and she comes fifth, right just after the European Union. That should tell us everything. That Britain's position is really not any kind of harem-scarum position.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Britain has also defied all of Europe who wanted Britain to enter the exchange. What they call it? I can't remember what exchange rate they call it now, but which means the euro. And the British people decided to stay with the pound sterling. So you have to give Britain a lot of credit that for her size, she has punched and she has maintained a certain level of independence. But people are saying now they want back their independence because this is what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what is at stake. Britain is basically the country where the whole parliamentary democratic system started. If they ignore the referendum and just go with it, Britain will buy that saying that they basically have thrown out democracy. The whole question of the laws that most of us follow, that's where they started. So there's a whole lot of stuff behind that is why the Brits also want to hold on to the question of their independence, because Britain definitely has a lot to offer. So does the European Union. But there's this tussle among them. Mm-hmm.
There are 28 countries in the European
Union. EU, yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the EU, 28 countries. And unlike CARICOM, the EU is a working organization. The EU has clout, it has power. When it tells these 28 countries jump, they better jump before they ask how high. And they just have to abide by the EU rules. On the ground, the British people, ordinary folks like us who get up and go to work every day, taxi drivers, teachers, housekeepers, these people decide that being a part of the EU does not really benefit them because the UK puts a lot of money into the EU, and that money they believe could be better spent on things that are needed in the country. So this whole movement to leave the EU actually started at the grassroots level, and it gained support from members of parliament, from some influential business people. It grew and it swelled, and it ended in the referendum in June where they voted, let's go. And now, with all that is happening with these shenanigans and politicking, and the movement has re-emerged, and this time it's called Leave Means Leave.
That's right.
And they're going under the what they have as their slogan is, what do we want? Brexit. When do we want it? Now. So they are re-energizing themselves, they say, because a second referendum is a real option. It's something that could happen. So they are re-energizing, getting all of those who voted no, really trying to get the group back. All those who voted to leave.
That's the thing, eh? That is where the trouble will begin. Because if they go back to another referendum, they're basically saying that they have thrown out democracy, that the people gave them a position and they're casting it aside. So that threat of a second referendum might sound so, but I don't think it's going to go. Yeah, Margaret?
No, I was just thinking, I think it's all well and good to say that. I think the relationship between the Brits and the Europeans is a symbiotic one. I don't think that, yes, that Britain may contribute money, but let's face it, the Europeans, it's a market for British goods and it's a market that they will lose as well. So, I mean, to sit and say, well, that the Brits must get everything they ask for is kind of like
But nobody
unrealistic.
ever said
Everybody.
No,
that.
nobody
I don't
said
understand what you're saying that,
everything
Margaret. Who
they asked
said that?
for. Nobody said
Well,
that.
you don't have to say that, but it's kind of like implied.
No. Well, nobody
And
here said that.
hold on
And
a
nobody
minute.
here implied that.
Hold on a minute.
No.
The other thing is too that all well and good that you had a referendum, but one must also acknowledge that that was also based on a lot of things that were also wrong. And we have to talk about that as well.
Like
We have
what?
to talk about the fact that it was based on racism, it was based on
Mhm.
xenophobia. Um, Catherine, you can shake your head, and I mean,
Was
I know you're living there, and I'm not saying that there weren't other reasons, but when you create the fear of the other, and you're being xenophobic, and that was part of the campaign, you have to acknowledge that was part of the campaign. So,
That is not what you hear on the ground in Britain every day, then. I could tell you that.
Jerry, I thought what it was, 48 to what, 52? Statistically, it's not really a majority thing. And the other thing, referendum and stuff, they're all well and good. I mean, I have no problems if the people want to vote for that. That's their issue. That's all well and good. But we also need to realize that people can also use referendums to also thwart the will of the people and destabilize democracy as well. So it's not always altruistic as people would make it out to believe.
So if another referendum come, what would that be doing?
I don't know if there's going to be another
No,
referendum. I
no,
mean, there's
that's we
nothing.
just sits on the table. But you're saying that okay,
And
so
a
this
lot of people.
referendum was wrong. If there's another
I
referendum, would
did
that be
not say
right?
it was wrong. I did not say it was wrong. I said that we need to realize that there were elements and aspects of that campaign that was wrong. And we also need to
If that's the
realize
case
that,
on both sides.
so fine, that's all well and good, but you can't sit, I think in the interest of fairness and in putting everything on the table, you have to acknowledge the fact that the campaign also used a lot of xenophobia and fear of the other as well to get their
But what
points
I'm saying, that
across.
happened at both sides. It didn't happen on one side.
But I'm
What
saying,
it
but
ended up to be is this, is that the Londoners who had all of the big positions, the big business, and the more influence, that is why it has turned out to be a grassroots versus them. They are the ones who are still trying to, remember the lady, what's her name again, who right after went to court to test it,
That guy
right?
needs lady.
The Guyanese lady.
Uh-huh.
That's what it has turned out to be. London, with all of the institutions, with all of the big people, the big business, they are the ones who want to maintain the EU connection. The grassroots does not want it. And that's not based on xenophobic, that's based on what the people have lived and experienced.
Jerry, come on, Jerry. Go back and revisit that campaign and hear all the nastiness that was said about those people. And you want to tell me it wasn't based on
About
xenophobia
which
as
people?
well?
About which
About
people?
about the immigrants that were coming in and everything else, and they're gonna and the Islamophobia and the terrorists gonna do this and everything else. You want to tell me you didn't hear those elements of that campaign
Yeah,
as well?
but so what if
Oh.
people protect their borders? I have no
Really,
problem with
Jerry?
people. Yes.
See, your argument is that everybody who comes in is a terrorist.
I didn't say
this and that
everybody. No,
and
no, I didn't
everything
say that.
else.
I did not say that.
Really?
I don't like people take what I say to extremes. I said if the people want to protect their borders, they have a right to protect their borders. How far they go in protecting their borders is another story, but they have a right because of what was happening in the other countries. Look
What was
at what
happening?
took out. Okay, hold on. What took out Angela Merkel? The very same immigration that she allowed is what has taken her out.
Yeah, but Jerry, let's get back to this though. Who created that problem?
Angela Merkel
Wasn't
and
it the
them.
same? Wasn't it the same British and the Germans and everybody else that went in and stabilized a region that caused people to have to flee? I mean, come on, they didn't just wake up one morning and flee, Jerry.
I don't know about
So
that.
they create.
know about-
No. Come on, Jerry. Don't say you don't know about that. I mean, come on, Jerry. Let's look at the roots of that mass immigration from there and the whole
So,
destabilization of an area. And people flee. They flee for refuge. You think these people wanted to leave? They didn't want to leave their homes. They had nowhere to go because there was
But
a war
I come back
situation.
to
So
the
you
same
created the
question.
mess. So now you have to deal with the mess. That's the reality of it.
So good.
So they created the mess, so now they want to block their borders after creating the mess. That's what these people have always done, gone around the world and messing up everywhere else. And then when the mess blow up, now you try to put something else to thing it. And you come and make it sound so altruistic and everything else. I mean,
Margaret, I hear what you are saying, But the solution cannot be to just have people flooding into countries, unregulated, unmanaged, in the kind of way that it was happening.
Yeah, but I hear you.
No, hear me out. Hear me out. That cannot be the solution, to just open your borders and say whosoever may come. I am not saying that these countries don't have a responsibility to these immigrants, because I believe they do. But you cannot leave your borders wide open for people to just come in like that. That just can't happen.
But so none of us would agree to that. Exactly. If we lived in a country. None of us.
Exactly. So if the Brits decide that if the UK, and we have to stop saying the Brits and say the UK, because it's two different things. If the UK decide that they want to protect their border in a particular way, and over here the EU rules do not allow them to do that, and they say, let's get out of this thing, I don't see a problem with that. The underlying tones of racism and xenophobia and all of that stuff, of course I have a problem with that. But the big picture is no country can ever, just regardless of how and where the problem started, they cannot, nobody, not Grenada, not the US, not the UK, nobody can just leave their borders open for whosoever will. It can't happen. It has to be managed. It has to be regulated. And if the UK and the EU cannot agree on that, then they have to part ways.
No, but the point I'm making is that the person who championed it, Angela Merkel, is the exact thing that took her out.
Yeah, because she decided that she was going to just open the borders and let everybody come, and it didn't work. No, and it cannot work. And it will not work. Colombia tried it with Venezuela and they had to stop.
They have to back it up.
They have to back off. It just cannot work like that. It has to be managed. So for whatever reason, and there is no perfect wrong or right, or no perfect side in this thing. Everybody, a lot of people within each group have their agenda. But the big picture is, if you want to manage your border and this EU arrangement is not allowing you to do that, then leave. Go.
Yeah. Because they even said to us, when we they brought this request to the EU said, if you want to, you cannot manage the Eastern European Union that flooded the country. We just wanted, because the flow was out of control and the infrastructure wasn't in place, because I mean, things was overwhelmed with people. And we said, okay, then we have some jobs to offer. We got 65,000 jobs, but 200,000 coming every day. We couldn't cope with this. You have to have a place for these people to live. You got to have health care for them. You got to have a lot of things to provide for them. So we asked them if we could just control that number. They said, no, you cannot control a number because you are in the free market. He said, if you want to control immigration, the immigration you should be concentrating on is people who are outside the EU. And I said that before. That is why the Windrush generation was detected.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That is why they were detected, because they was trying to get these people out. The non-EU migrant in this country was targeted. This is what happened because the EU that ordered that to happen. It's not British. And everybody talking about the British, this is what happened there. This is why they were detected and they had to leave the country. They all right. It makes space for the Eastern European Union. It's nothing to do with this. Everybody the Romanians, everybody who vote to leave, they call them xenophobic or racist and that kind of a thing. I vote to leave. I'm not. This is not the reason I vote to leave. This is the reason why I vote to leave. If the EU had said, yes, you can have a little control over the people you're taking. If you provide 30-something jobs, let 30-something come in to get the job, okay? If they had said that, I was prepared to vote remain, honestly to God. But since they said, oh no, control people from outer USA, so my people now have to be second-class citizens, my people have to be controlled as immigrants? No, let immigration be fair. Let the people from EU, when we leave the EU, let the people from EU suffer this, treated the same way as people outside of the EU. That's what I voted for.
Guys, just
There's something else.
hold on,
There's
hold
something
on.
else that
Jerry, just let me
George?
jump in here for a minute. Somebody listening to you guys in Decatur, in Georgia, says here, Anthea Rello, she says, this is not only about protecting their borders. They invited people, and some even served in their military. How are they treating those people? Answer, Anthea.
And I hear George
sounds
clearly,
like- that sounds like two different things. He's reading a Facebook comment. I'm seeing it here. This is not only about protecting their borders. They invited people, and some even served in their military. How are they treating those people? So I'm saying that sounds like the Windrush generation, which is a different group of people from the migrants coming in from war-torn countries.
Yeah.
So the Windrush generation got caught up in it, like Catherine and Jerry were just discussing a while ago, when the EU said, what about all of those people you have there who are not EU people? And then the axe fell on all this Windrush generation, those who, as Anthea pointed out, were part of the military and went to UK as UK citizens, because when they left the Caribbean, the Caribbean was still a colony. All the Caribbean countries were British colonies, and they left here as subjects of the UK, went there, served in the military, did whatever they did, settled there, and then all of a sudden, 50 years later, you tell them they have no status, they have to go. Well, that royally blew up. And they had to deal with that real quick and look after these people and make sure they had proper status in the UK. Because there is no way, and there were one or two incidents with one man who went to Jamaica and one who went to Barbados. That is just before the whole Windrush thing blew up. And they found they could not have gone back to the UK. They were in those two countries for more than a year each, closer to 2 years, before they could actually get to go back home to where they know as home. So the Windrush generation, Anthea, is different from the whole immigration crisis with people running away from war-torn countries and seeking refuge in various European countries, including in the UK.
Let me make another point that is easy to overlook.
You want us to take a break and come back?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical, and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners, and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance, and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenience, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
Redlick, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Music man.
I'm laughing here how how Trump tell Nancy she could fly commercial.
We're back, you know. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. Anyway, let me just close what I was saying before that. There's something else we need to understand the difference. When you talk about the rest of Europe, including Russia, not Russia, including Germany, Poland, Sweden, most of these countries form part of the contiguous landmass of Europe. Britain is a little island. If you let the same flow come through to Britain, do you have any idea of what that will do? So I understand the British people's concern because they don't have the space and they don't have the facilities as even Germany has.
No.
Then you had countries like Sweden and stuff just literally shutting their borders down and saying, no, this can't happen. So if that had happened to Britain, it would be a completely different story.
Mm-hmm. And once you start that kind of inflow, you cannot stop.
You cannot stop it. No.
When do you close the border and say, okay, we can't take anymore?
Mm-hmm.
So it comes back to what I said before. It has to be managed. It has to be structured. The country has to know how many immigrants can we take and take care of, because it's not just to take them. You have to take care of them. Do you have the health resources? Do you have the food resources, especially now in winter? Do you have the type of resources that you need to care for these?
Housing is a huge thing.
You have schools for the children to go to.
You have schools for the children. You have all these language barriers.
Definitely. You got to prepare for it.
Yes, a lot of
English country. Yeah.
A lot of these people, they don't speak English. So
no.
But if I remember correctly, when Italy was bearing the brunt, Italy and Greece of this thing, that was basically the argument that was raised, that you split it up and even it out among all the countries, because the Greeks and the Italians were the ones that bore the brunt of this stuff and were still bearing the brunt of it.
Simply because it was the place that people landed.
Yeah,
you're right. It was the easiest place for them to land.
And
what Merkel said, I remember that well, was the discussion to have it split up and have each country take a certain amount. That discussion was made, and everybody started saying no.
But then no certain
which
amount
was when
after
she gave out that number, which was when she said that Germany would take whatever they want to take.
But
and nobody wanted to take anything. So the Italians and the Greeks end up being stuck with this stuff. It's not fair to them.
No, not just that. What actually happened is that they had no way of having a quota adopted. People just came in their thousands. In their thousands. There was no way to control it. So
Jerry,
I mean,
let's assume a war break out in St. Vincent. What are you doing? You're staying and fight or you're running?
It depends.
It depends.
It depends. If I feel there's a cause enough to fight, then I get a good weapon and I might stay and fight.
Yeah, don't worry. I know you're going to be on the first boat out, heading south or east, wherever.
Hold on.
Wait. Let me tell you something. St. Vincent is a plantation. Massa is going to arm his people first.
Exactly.
And when the ammunition run out, the rest of them, they are on their own.
Don't worry. No, she talking from experience because she did that in her lifetime already.
What?
Try for uniform and run.
Who, me? No, what? I never did that. I didn't have one uniform.
You scamp.
I didn't even have my uniform.
Margaret.
Wait, they didn't have one uniform. Say they had nothing to throw off. Just run.
I was right in the thick of the thing.
Margaret, were you in the country in 1979?
Yeah.
Were you in Grenada in 1979? So you're there for both. Yeah,
but that is what telling you. I know what telling you.
And the anniversary is coming up.
Yes. 83.
Right there. I remember what I was doing too, because since we couldn't go to school, I had a pile of t-shirts to dye for my house that day. So I just light up the fire at the back of the house and dyed t-shirts for my house.
And 83 what happened now?
83 I was working. I was supposed to be working and nobody was working.
No, is that we talking about? That is not 79. We talking about 82 when you run.
83 now, yes.
No, I didn't, Let me tell you something. I went up to I started going up. So Beverly have a sense. So okay, fine.
Excuse me.
So Bev, you know where they would refer to as bottom government gate. When the government house was there, you had top government gate and you had bottom government.
So hold on. So I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, carry on.
Okay, bottom government gate.
Take that.
So here, so I went up with the crowd and we were going up to the house and literally got in the straight away Bernard's house was, and this set of shots rang out. And the whole crowd, people started to scatter and stuff and everything else. And I remember there was a friend of mine who was walking up and she's like, "Don't run, they will not shoot at the people." But you see, because I don't like crowds, I walked back down. I didn't continue going up to the house. I walked back down and stood right on the wall. You see where the gates are, Beverly, right there? Right, if you're coming out from Government House, those gates right there. So I stood on the wall right there. I didn't go back up. I stayed right there. So that when the truck came down with Mars, the last glimpse I had of Mars was when he came down. When they took him out from the house, and he was in this big green truck and he was sitting in the front. That was the last glimpse I had of him. The truck came down, went down Lucas Street. And then we just, I just went back down to the Market Square. Basically from that point.
That's where you expect them to go. Mm-hmm.
Right, because they were setting up the market. They were setting up the market basically for a rally. I mean, they were literally setting it up because everybody expected that he would be coming there to address the people. We knew that he had gone up to the fort, and they were literally setting up the stage, and everything else was up, and they were waiting for people were milling around to stop. And then some people were going up there, and I kept wanting to go, and I'm looking for like company to go for something. You kind of like just want somebody to go with you. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get anybody to go with me. And then I decided, and the last minute, it's the hell that I'm going. And I got to the intersection of Halifax and Granby's. And as I got there, the first blast went off. So instead of going up to the fort, I walked over to the Esplanade. So I saw the people skating down on that side from the Esplanade and people running and stuff.
But I now talking about when the US landed. That's the real time all this take off.
No.
Uniform
I didn't take off any, no. No, I didn't have to take off. I think for a lot of people, I hear what you're saying, but I think for a lot of people after October 19th, it was kind of like, that's it. I mean, you were literally cursing people out because, I mean, I saw people, like guys in the army and stuff passing, like after the curfew was passed. And I mean, these are people that and they pass and they see you and, they wait for you and they're like, them out, man. Yeah, because you kind of like, began to, and that was like before, and then the invasion was the 25th. So.
Don't worry, independence coming up, and after independence is March 13. If the good Lord spares us and we are all here, we do what we do every year. We relive the experiences of the overthrow of real 20th century overthrow of a government. So Margaret, stay tuned. Margaret has a lot more to tell us about what happened on March 3rd.
She was saying I run have to drop down on it tonight.
We know you're running.
Whatever.
Listen,
Whatever.
She asked if you would run.
Right.
Yeah. You see? And I am the one who say, Master gonna arm his people first. And all who not his people, they're on their own.
Exactly.
So how you know which people I be?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Okay, good.
I am
Thank
making
you.
a statement.
And if you run, Beverly, you'll go them fins very quickly.
you know. So if you are one of Master people, you will get armed.
Good.
If not one of Master people, you're on your own. Fight or flight.
Margaret.
Oi.
Apparently you just resonated with Anthea out there in Georgia. She says, that's right, Margaret. We were waiting on the market. Then had to run for my life because they went up to the fort.
Right. Yeah, I didn't make it up to the fort. I was like looking for company that day. For some reason, I wanted somebody to go with me. I couldn't get anybody. Something just kept holding me back. And when I decided to go, boom, that was it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So many stories to tell. And Brexit people will have a lot of stories to tell when this is all over and the dust has settled.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the deal that was rejected in the British Parliament, 500 and how many pages? 72 pages, which were given to MPs to read overnight and
590, 97.
or
96 or
something.
97, something like that, yeah.
Right. And they were supposed to read it overnight and digest it and make some kind of decision on it the next day. I believe people are, even though it has been rejected, people are just now beginning to look at some of the things that were contained in it and deciding that it really was not a good deal for the UK. And that is why it was rejected.
Mm-hmm.
It has been rejected. As what a part of it included in it was that the UK had to hand over 39 million pounds to the EU as part of their exit package. And okay. And one member of the UK would practically be left as a member of the EU, even though the other three would be going. And it's like, okay, how would that work? You know, so you have Northern Ireland that would be subject to EU rules. And the rest
backstop.
Yeah, and then the rest of the UK would be, how would that work?
Yeah, and that's exactly the point, because the Irish does not want the walls to go back.
Nope.
Whether they're literal or figurative. They do not want it. And up to this morning, I heard a guy from Ireland talking, and he was saying the one thing that has united Ireland against that is that they don't necessarily want a thing together, but anytime you talk about separating them where they have to go through walls again, that has just united the whole country.
That's right.
Do not
that's
want
why
a wall.
When you see them support Theresa May yesterday, I said,
Yeah,
chat all they want.
Yeah, the Irish is very clear that they do not want a wall. They don't want to go back to those days.
There's a lot of suffering, a lot of violence and that thing. You know. I remember being in England in those days when they had to take things like dustbins off the road because they put the bombs in dustbins. It was horrific. I remember one morning heading down into the underground, and everybody started to move the other way. Some bomb had gone off, and it was just a terrible time when they were fighting that whole. The IRA was fighting with the British. It was just terrible, and I'm sure nobody wants to go back there.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go back there.
Right. So we wait to see what happens now that that deal is off the table. No deal is on the table. Jeremy Corbyn, who is the leader of the other major party in the British Parliament, he has become a persona non grata, I would say. And there are just everything.
Well, don't put it that way. Put it this way: that you would think that he'd have been one of the first persons to meet with Theresa May, but he has refused to meet with Theresa May.
Exactly.
So the joke is now that he'll meet with the IRA, he'll meet with Hamas, he will meet with Hezbollah, but he'll not meet with Theresa.
And that is so sad. And all along, if anyone had heard me talk, if anyone heard me talk about this over the last few months of this Brexit confusion, I have said, everyone is saying they don't want this deal. What's the alternative? Jeremy Corbyn had the loudest mouth. Now he has nothing to put on the table.
Nope, he never did.
So
he was just hoping the government was falling in his lap.
Yes,
That's all he was hoping.
So in the mix of this thing, you have people like Corbyn with his own political agenda. He wants to be prime minister at any cost. But as far as Brexit is concerned, he has nothing to put on the table.
Nope.
Absolutely nothing. Because if he did, now is the time to put it there. And he's absent from the table. He's not even there.
Nope.
So
politics is a hell of a thing, Politics is a real hell of a thing.
Tell you. And somehow it seemed to attract all the greedy people. It seemed to attract people who lie, people who greedy,
lazy,
people who lazy, people who selfish, people who just want things without having to work for it. Ah, gosh. I guess it's not for the rest of us. The other item that we have on our menu this evening comes from neighboring St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The one where that one's going to run from?
Tell us about it.
Living City people in the chat room will talk about it. They on the ground, they know what's going on. What I hear say. And what I hear say is that some unions tell the Prime Minister the other day, we ain't sitting down in no meeting with you. If you go and tell us, we can't bring we cell phone. So they up and left and tell him ain't happening. And that has been the talk in St. Vincent for the past. Now, Mr.
Unnecessary.
Give us
talk.
the background to this, and so we can understand what's happening and make our comment on it. And we can also tell the unions what we think they should do when we hear the full story.
I told them I already need to look at Grenada. Anyway, the thing is that when this administration came to office, it's amazing how life repeats itself. It came to office when the teachers, among other things that were happening, they were asking for an increase of 30% at the time. And Eustace was then the Minister of Finance, basically. And they were told, we can't give you 30%. You could get 12%.
And Arnim Eustace is or was the leader of the main opposition party at the time.
No. In fact, he wasn't. It was Sir James was still there.
Okay.
So it was under Sir James' thing, but he was the Minister of Finance.
Oh.
Anyway,
okay.
Ralph was then the leader of the opposition, and he insisted and told the teachers, "No, look at how much money they have squandered in the Atlee Hall project and stuff. They can't pay 30%." And the teachers believed, and they were able, among other things, to get the teacher to the point where they started protesting and stuff like that. End result, they brought the government down, the James Mitchell administration down. I can't remember how many years, about almost 2 years before the time they brought them down. They're back to that scale. But what is interesting now is that the union is saying that since the Ralph Gonsalves government has come to power, they have never sat down and had a negotiation with the government. Never. Every time there has been some kind of increase, the Prime Minister just simply put some money there, send it to the Treasury and tell them that. They have never been able to negotiate. You get them a piece of change, a piece of money.
Just to keep them quiet, right?
Yes, right.
No,
and it was never...
Sorry.
That's the language he uses.
That's the language he likes to use, Margaret. You give them a piece of money or a piece of change.
Yes. Right. The end result is that they have never had negotiations. The union, in the meantime, have always been submitting proposals. And November is called Teachers Union Month because in November 40 years ago, when the people came out to protest, the then Labour administration tear-gassed the teachers. And they have commemorated that every single November. So there's also Teachers Week in November, the whole month. Mm-hmm. So when she delivered the teachers' address, the new president was Wendy Bino, delivered the teachers' address. She made the point that they have been sending proposals to the Prime Minister, and they have not even had the courtesy of an acknowledgement. And she said that at the session. Now, lo and behold, budget is on the 29th. The Prime Minister suddenly sends to call them and says he wants to meet with them, which was last Friday. So they went, and as they normally would, when they go to see the Prime Minister, they would walk with their phones. The security outside tell them they have to leave their phones, and they outright objected. All right? And so two other unions, the CTAWU, Commercial, Technical, and Allied Workers Union, and what's the other one called? National Workers Movement. They were in the meeting, but I need to tell you about them. The CTWU is led by Bones Bonady, who is a name that people should know across the region. And the other one is led by Noel Jackson. But both of them host political talk shows for the government.
Not for the government, for the party that forms the government. Yeah.
Nice it up how you want, yes, but I understand your point.
I like to keep the distinction between government and party. I will forever try to keep
I hear you.
people's mind.
In St. Vincent, the party is the government.
On Mek We Chat, when you're talking about government, we're not talking about
I talking about the plantation, you self say. In the plantation, the government is the party. Don't back out now.
Plantation, Massa run things.
Good. So that is what it is.
Right.
Okay.
So
good.
Massa
So let me move on.
So you don't have no party. You're just a Massa.
Okay, good. So let me move on. Okay. So they host political talk shows for their party, and they are on the inside of all that is happening. Now, it was announced after the others did not go into the meeting. The Prime Minister announced that he was going to give 1% and some crazy set of figures. And it was proclaimed that these two unions accepted. Now, the thing about it is that none of these two unions represent public workers. So how could they accept a deal on behalf of public workers when none of them represent public workers? But these are the kinds of stuff that happens in St. Vincent, all right?
So none of those two unions represent public workers?
Commercial, Technical and Allied and National Workers Movement is like a catch-all for everything else. The Teachers Union, the Police Service Union, and the PSU were the people outside of the
real union.
So who do they represent?
Who? Well, the CTW represented companies like Cable and Wireless and Flow and that kind of stuff.
Why are they negotiating with the Prime Minister?
But that's the point. Because I do not think that what was anticipated was a negotiation. I think they were called for this consultation, budget consultation, and which happens, which means absolutely nothing because the budget is being printed as as they were doing that. But it was all part of the fast that has taken place for years. And this one, I think, caught them out when they didn't go into the rooms. So he had already had his figures. So he had to say the figure that he had because he was not going to negotiate. He was going to tell them, this is what I'm going to give you, which is what has happened all the years. There's just been a unilateral decision to say, this is what you are going to get. I'm going to put it in the treasury. Leave it, sit down beside it if you want.
But I had been following this story and I kept reading and hearing that this is what the Prime Minister offered them, this is what he gave them. And I am still waiting to hear what did the union ask for? What did they bring to the table? And it kind of supports what you said, that it was supposed to be a consultation and not a negotiation. Because it appeared as if they went to the table with nothing. They just went there and sat down, and the PM says, "Okay, I'm giving you."
Well, no, but don't forget what I told you. The union said they sent proposals, more than one proposal.
Yes, but that union was not in the meeting.
Right. Okay. So the others you're talking about.
Right.
Okay.
So they didn't go to negotiate.
Because they have nothing. Who are they going to negotiate for? Because the people who they represent are not paid by the government. So how could they be representing those people? Bottom line.
But that don't make no sense because if you're representing,
that's the thing.
If you're representing people in a private company, you go and sit down with the company and negotiate. You don't go and sit down with Ask Ralph.
Is it now making a lot more sense to you people?
But then again, on the plantation, Massa owns everything, you know.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Good.
Precisely.
You all getting the message? Finally, you all are getting the message to understand what I'm saying here, okay? This is not a normal situation. Okay?
I say, and that is why I say it all the time, you know. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a plantation. There is no resemblance of a democratic, what we call in the Caribbean, a democratic style of government in that country.
There's no need for it.
I just don't get it. I have a note here on Facebook from Ryan Gibbon. He says teachers in the state of California, USA, are unhappy too.
Yeah,
And
they've
my
been on
nephew,
strike
and
starting
my
this
nephew
week.
says, "Hi, Auntie Bev. Good night." Hello.
Oh, you have a fun.
I have nephew listening. Who you have listening?
Show
Don't worry,
off.
Bev. He jealous. He jealous.
I
Who?
don't. I know
Who
it.
did the nephew?
No, you.
Lord help me help all you.
Right.
Jealous, Bev. Don't worry.
I know, make him steady. Envy, jealousy, malice, and pride, they must never in the heart abide. Good.
Are you here? Are you here? Go ahead.
So root them up, get them gone.
Yes, Margaret went to Sunday school too.
You know.
Yes, so, but it speaks to a wider issue of the changing role of the trade unions, and it's something we have mentioned here on Mek We Chat before.
Last
The
week.
trade unions, and I think possibly the week before that we said this, the trade unions just need to stop trying to behave like they're a part of the government, because they are not. And they like the idea of these tripartite thing and these social compacts and these collective groups that give the semblance that everybody is trying to work for the good of the country. And it just cannot work.
Don't say it can't work. It has worked very well in Barbados.
Yeah, it
has
can.
worked
I mean,
very well in Barbados. But
people
then
just
again, you
need to
have a
know
different
their
level.
roles.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You have
you
a
need to know
different
your
level
role.
of people. It worked well in Barbados. That is why everybody thought, oh, this tripartism is great because it has worked in Barbados.
And that is why they need to look at what happens in Barbados, how the trade unions there do their business.
Mm-hmm.
And don't think that just because you sit down across the table with the representatives of the government, who are at the end of the day politicians, just because you sit across the table with them, you think they are looking out for your interests?
Right. In Barbados, the three of them meet and they work out their business. But I don't think we have that level of maturity in these other islands.
And that's the difference. They meet and they work out their business with each party, cognizant of its role and its constituents.
Exactly.
But in other countries, when they sit down, everybody behave like they're part of government.
They're glad to be able to make policy.
Yes. And then when they get up now to go back to their constituents, they find they fall short. And they don't have a leg to stand on to make any demands or to do anything, because you already sit down and behave like government in coming up with these decisions. So you leave yourself no room to negotiate. And that's the corner that trade unions have squeezed themselves in many of these countries and in many, many situations. It just cannot work like that.
Let me point out something else that I had to raise in St. Vincent. And it's another of the differences, right? Grenada has had, for the last so many weeks, problems, all right? There have been negotiations. You never once hear the union here sitting now, Dr. Mitchell. But in St. Vincent, if it's bananas, if it's teachers, if it's health workers,
but we just everybody.
Well, good, I'm making the point for you. The only person everybody meets with is the Prime Minister. And I'm saying that has to have its own problem, because once you've gotten there, there's no way back.
Yeah.
There's nobody who can come in from outside and mediate. And how we continue that foolishness, because it is bad management. Plain, straight, bad management. The Prime Minister is the center of every single thing that happens.
In Grenada, up to now, Dr. Mitchell, who is the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance.
Finance, right?
He has not once sat down in these meetings.
No, that's why you have other people to do. You have a Labour minister.
He makes his statements, whether you like what he says or not is a different story. But he makes his statements. I'm sure he'll give his guidance from the background. But they have a negotiating team.
That's right.
They have a committee, and that committee engages with the union. Things can't work there, they go to the labor commissioner. Things can't work there, they go to the minister of labor. You know, you have a chain. This system is set up in a way that you can't just meet with the prime minister and then what happens?
Well, that's the only person.
No room to negotiate.
Exactly.
The prime minister put out his office number the other day in St. Vincent saying, what he was talking about, anybody who have problems with a, call my number. This is the number, call it. And the prime minister has time to meet with individuals, and it amazes me because I know in the private sector you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. You cannot do that.
You ever try to get to the CEO of one of these companies, especially in our region?
But some of them are just bad because some of them feel that because they name CEO, they're supposed to talk to people. But we ain't talking about those. We're talking about the fact that they actually have a company to run.
Good.
And they don't have the time to be that available. My prime minister is available to everybody at any time during the course of every day.
And he spends a lot of time on radio too.
Exactly.
And the other one in Antigua, he has his own radio station.
Well, there you go. Point FM.
Audio kicks in. Audio really
Lord.
But the truth, it might sound like joke, but it's serious.
Help us on these little sandbanks.
it might be thing, but it's the truth.
You really kicks in by
60,000 and 70,000 people. Small villages in the real world. And no, down here we're run by kings and masses.
Boy.
Anyway, we probably should take a break now.
We can't.
About break
can't
time.
take break, because suspect in charge is not there.
Oh, that is true. I forgot that he's missing.
Yeah. Missing in action.
All who need to take a sip of water, gonna do it on air.
Probably need to take a coffee break now.
No break for us. And it's that time when Rachel should have come on.
Did I get somebody to say hi?
Yes, I did. I'm looking at you all the time.
Oh,
okay.
Great.
And
I'm
we're
looking.
hearing
The
you.
camera is not up. My son didn't realize he has to put up the little camera thing.
What, the camcorder?
Yes, but I'm hearing so.
Oh, the
Now we're hearing
webcam,
you. That's okay.
the webcam. But the fact is, we can see your name, so we know it represents you, and we can now hear your voice. So you can
I was quiet. I'm listening to you all since about 9. Now I'm quiet to 9.
Okay.
All right.
Nice. That's good.
And we're very happy to hear you, Rachel.
Thank
So
you.
happy. Well, whenever suspect in charge comes back, we would keep up. But in the meantime, let's continue the discussion.
It's coming.
I like what I'm hearing.
Here he is. Yay! Break time.
Everybody know you're missing.
You know.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And GRENADA is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while GRENADA can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENADA, energizing our GRENADA.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
All right, folks, are you guys hearing me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I think you were hearing Catherine a little while, not Catherine, Rachel a little while ago, weren't you?
Yeah, we're getting feedback from Rachel.
Take up the phone. Take up Mr. Grant now. Okay, good. We take him off.
I'm hearing her, but they're obviously having a problem with their camera, okay? Because you're seeing that.
Again, something again, but not. We'll run on.
Okay, Rachel, you hearing us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Bev, your friend Rachel is online. Take it away.
We have been trying since last week to get Rachel on this program, and we're happy to have her tonight. Rachel is someone who cares, who has a passion for social work. She puts a lot of effort into coming in contact with especially children who are within the system, and seeks to get the support of organizations to deal with some of the issues that come up in the system. But those of us who try to get things done through the system know that this is not always easy. And especially when you are dealing with wards of the state who have been abandoned for the most part by families. Some have parents that can't take care of them. Some don't have parents at all. And Rachel has been trying to help two of these children, a boy and a girl. And she wants to share some of the experiences she has had. And as we do on Mek We Chat, we want to listen to her experiences, comment on them, of course. But at the end of it all, we want to see, is there some way that we can help by helping children who are within the system, trying, just putting a little bit more effort into helping those unfortunate children, because so many of them out there would just love to have someone reach out to them and offer a helping hand. And it always saddens me when I think of children going through pain, going through suffering, being disadvantaged because they're children. They have not yet become adults to be responsible for anything. So
wow, I'm seeing you. How? My son is fighting here.
Oh, there she is. We're seeing
We're seeing you.
My son is a genius. He's just not giving up.
We're seeing the light bouncing off her glasses.
My son fixed it. Oh my God.
You
That's
need to
okay.
get some more light on your face.
That's
Yeah.
what my
So
son
what
did.
I want you to do for us, Rachel, is to take us through very slowly so we can understand and participate in that discussion. Take us through how you came in contact with these two young children that you are trying to help.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for having me on the show. And I want to start by saying at least two things. Except the Lord build the house, the labor in vain that built it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. Don't trouble anything again. Also, I want to say we need peace and love. Okay? Well, I came back to Grenada by moving back and forth after I had my son, 2015. And I remember we were moved from that book. Sorry. I remember we had an open air service at the Queen's Mardi Gras one night of that same year. I cannot remember exact date and time, but I remember it's a night. I saw 3 little children straying by a rum shop. So I'm like, who's these kids? Believe you me, if I told you I knew what the pastor said at night, I would have been lying. Because my eyes was just fascinated on these 3 children. And I'm like, what are these kids doing in this rum shop? And I'm just waiting for him to say amen to talk to them. There was their little dolly in a drain. I hate to beg a man, buy something for me. I'm like, what? She tell a man buy something for her. As they finished, I went across. I say, who are you? They're looking at me and they're laughing. I'm like, what? I say, who are you? But what I did the next night, I started to walk with food for them. So I catch them. I walk with food every night. They will sit on the wall. I will go early before everybody come, feed them, then wait for my session. Every night I did that. Nobody knows. The Saturday when my husband said to me, okay, let us go over and witness. I say, I'm going to, because I wanted to know where they were living. So the evening I went up that area, I asked a guy, there's 3 kids on the street roaming. Who are they kids? He said to me, they are living in that abandoned house there. I'm saying, what? That house had windows, but it was patched with wooden things. The gate was chained with a piece of wire or something. And nobody there but them. The bigger one was, at the time, one was about 10 or 11, 9, and 8. Something like that. 11, but 3 of them underage. And I said to them, where's your mom? They say she's not here. I said, where's your dad? He's gone. I said, nighttime, he's gone. So the guy said to Miss, these kids live on their own. They look after themselves. I say, you crazy. Now that young man, who is their father, is he went to special ed school, so he should know what's going on in his head. He act like he's stupid, So I said, I cannot meet this man no time. So you know what I did one night? I decided to find that man. I passed there 6 o'clock. He was not there. I went home. I came home because I'm living walking distance to the kids. I came home. I did what I have to do. At least I ran away, but my husband didn't know. I said, I'm coming back. And I went up the hill and I walked down, get to the hill as fast as I can. He's not there. I said, what? The children was there. I give them things to eat. I feed them. I say, okay, I'm coming back. When my husband went in his bed, I left the house. He didn't know. Because I know he's not getting up. So when he went in his bed at night, I was out of the house. So if you had a man took me in the corner up there, he would have said not his wife. But I was not here. It sounds like a joke, but the people in the area could tell you the drama with me and the kids. The people in the area could tell you. One woman said to me, Miss, I've been watching you, and I'm scared that man will kill you. Because every time he's saying, I want to kill this lady. What did you do? I was not scared of him, but I couldn't find him. So one time, the child said, Miss, he come. I said, call me. I tell him, no, son top. I said, call me when you see him home. So I got a call on my phone. Once I see my, I said, good job. I left here probably about 9 because you can't get him early. When I reached him, he's sitting on the veranda. I was not scared to go in. But what I did, I said, watch now, what going on? You're nice kids, man. What going on? And he went, oh, you know. After he questioned me and said, he going to kill me, you know. Oh, you know, I need help for them and blah, blah, blah. So then I started to do my homework now. I said, you know what? I need to find out about these kids and what is happening. So I remember one person said to me, nobody's studying these kids. They're miserable at this and that. I said, but the kids, they're hungry. They're looking for help. And the father, the people in the community was scared of him because he act up and he gets on and nobody's trying to say, well, let me talk to him. But a stranger come to talk to him and he likes that. And everybody's looking at me. Oh, the man going to do it. I say, he's not doing me nothing. I say, I'm not scared of him. And when he realized, okay, so we give them some stuff from the church now. My pastor say, bring them. I'm glad. So I started give them my clothes, look for my son clothes, dress them up nice, and they come to church. The mistake I make, not to make a mistake, show them where I was living. I showed them where I was living. Every day after school, these kids are hearing chop, chop, chop coming on there. Oh yes, every day after school, so they're not roaming in tongue anymore. And the police, social worker, this one, they always say they was your Miss Modeste. They don't know me, right? Nobody knows me. They just only hearing my name. So one day, the police in St. Paul's called me, and he said to me, "No, let me step back a bit. Now, this young man was beating these kids and tying them in the house, tying them like animals, tying them like animals. Oh no! Now, I teach at Good Hope Swimming Pool, right? So what I does, I will check for that child. Now I'll give her food in her bag. She have a little bag on her back. If you open it, it's food in the bag. A lady said, but miss, you are patient with. She was very disruptive. But when you see that child with me, she is calm. Nobody else, and she grabbed onto me like, Lord, she get her mother. Her skin was very itchy, sorry. Miss, if you see her, you want to touch her. And everybody's calling her now because she has sores. I was not scared of the sores. I know what to do. Now, when my husband gone, I used to tell her, come. Don't come with my husband there. I don't want to disrupt him. So she used to time him now because she come and they making noise and my husband getting annoyed. He don't like the noise. And my husband was very quiet and disruption come to his house. I bring it. Like, oh my God. Sometimes I say, it's quiet. Noise they're making. I say, Lord Jesus. But I'm not giving them up. The police, I called them. I said, listen, now this child tear up in the house like an animal, you know. Y'all not coming. I had to go to work for 2 o'clock and I stand up by there until about 9 o'clock till 1:30 and nobody came. I said, okay, that's okay. Then I walked to social development. When they saw with me, oh, Rolana. I said, wow, she's a demon. When they see her, I said, she's not going to school. I said, why is she not going to school? They tell me, oh, they run around. To make us a long story short, I started to give them pressure, me. I work with her in education, finding out what to do, and she behind me. Because I'm going to work. Now she gets somebody, she's following me. If I tell her don't come, she find me where I am. So if I say don't come today, I'm going to the school, don't come. When I look at she peeping, she follow me to school.
Oh man.
Yes, she follows me. When I say don't come,
that's so sad.
And I'm like, oh my God. But what I used to do now, she has to dress like me, like a coach. So I will put on my jeans pants and my jersey, you know. So 2 hours is the coach, we're going to work. That's what it used to be. So lo and behold, I was called in at the time in Queen's Park to a meeting. Let's put it so. Police, some of the workers, and they asked me. They're trying to talk to me, and I'm trying to talk. And a certain individual there who's supposed to be still in the social play, in the child protection, with an attitude. So the one of them said, you call, give her a chance to talk. When I call on the phone first thing, I said, could you all make a place and, what she tell me? You could get it. I said, no, you in the field, so you get it and we will help you all. There are people standing ready with me to help you all clothe and feed them. That didn't happen. She ended up in a crazy house. I'm wrapping up. She ended up in a crazy house. Thank God for Ursula Antoine.
Wait, hold on.
Yes, miss.
So the social services took her from where she was and put her in the Mount Gay Hospital for people who are mentally ill.
Right. Well, let me tell you what happened in that case now. She's a very disruptive child, but she and the boy lying on the road, but they has problem that they cannot see. Now they came to me. She fights everybody except me. So the police are saying, and I understand was Corporal Thomas in St. Paul. That man is so nice. You know why? He was understanding me because he was a believer. He knew God also. Oh, so he said to me, Miss Moses, I know you're trying. Some of them when they go there, some of them running them door and they beating them. Some beat them, some was very nice. There was a woman police. She was so caring that I said, Lord, if it had some more like her. She understood as a mother, right? So that is why I think she started to fight back also. She trying to defend herself. But let me tell you, when that child, they had no place to put her because everybody she go ask was a problem. She fights, she disrupted because she's getting licks from her father, tying her up like an animal. Then they don't know what to do. That Christmas of 2 years ago, when I checked for her, Miss Ursula Antoine, thank God she came in. She that gave me the forum. Nobody else gave me. So Miss Antoine said, these kids need some help. So I went and I find out. They said no. When Mrs. Darby, who is now in charge, she is so sweet. She's now in charge of the place on Scott Street. I said, Miss Darby, do you know this? She was in social development at the time. She said no. She said, check the file. She was the only person that said, check the file. When she checked the file, you know what happened, miss? Before I found them in 2015, there was records and things on the file to help the father build a house, and nothing was done. Not I did my homework so good that when I went to them, I had the facts. I asked questions and I tried to drill them through because I had the facts in my hand, but they didn't know. What I do, I go into people who I know and I find out certain stuff. But they don't know. But I didn't even write it on a paper, it's in my head. And I ask and I find out. She said to the man, did you know that? He talked like, who is them? Who is these children? Like they're nobody. What I gather from them, I could tell you for what I know. I was with them on the ground, walking with them in social development. And this was the reaction. Eventually, they had no way at the time. Miss Christopher and Mr. Julian. I could say these two people, God bless their heart. The others, when they say them on call, I've never seen them. They will talk to me on the phone. But if it's Roland and them, they're not coming. I'm telling you. So this thing hurt me so bad. One day I hear my phone ring. Dr. Spencer called me from the mental hospital. So I said, wait, Dr. Spencer, hold on. This is Rachael Modeste home, you know. He said, yes, I know. But all I hear is Miss Modeste, who are you? I said, so what you want to put me in a crazy house? He laughed, he make a joke, you know. He said, no, miss, I want to see you. Could you come up? Rolanda is asking for you in the Monge Hospital. I said, she's in the Monge Hospital, so she stayed there for the Christmas. She stayed there. My heart break, so I went for her. Miss Antoine
How
came
old is she?
here.
How old is she?
She is now, I think she turned 12. 12. Right now she's at the Backlet home, but we reached that. So, sir, it's a lot happening. And that's
so
one.
Where are the two boys that used to be?
The two boys, one is right now in the home for the boys, and that's in Richmond Hill, and the other one is up in Backlet also.
Hill?
Huh? Richmond Hill. That's Father Madigan have a home. I had a home there.
Okay.
And I think he's there. He's good. Not I think. I know he's there because I'm like his mother still. I'm his mother still. Even though it seems as though
where's the other one?
He is up at the back lot. Even though it seems as though they are hidden from me, he finds me. He comes to me still. Yes. You see what is happening from the crazy house. When I went to the crazy house, a man in the crazy house is saying to Rolana, find your place. And I'm looking at the nurse. Listen, no, in the crazy house, everybody is together. Let's put it so. No, they don't have a barricade like when I went to Trinidad jail. Even though they're in the same, they don't have a barricade. They come to eat. The men eating on that table and the women eating this, so they close. So a man could get up and cough a woman. So she was walking around a guy. He said to her, find your place. And I said, oh, she in the crazy house, yeah. Now, and I asked the nurse, I said, Miss, you heard what the man tell her? Because she's a child, but you find she walking around him too much. Find your place. I said, no. If anything happen here, a fight could break out because everybody is actually together, eating together. And the bathrooms are so and that they are together. And when I heard the guy kill the person in the crazy house, I said, well, I expected something like that to happen because everybody's interacting like together. It's not a
Question,
barricade.
just a quick question. So you have both adult and youth population together in the mental hospital?
Yes, that's what I saw when I got there, and I asked the question.
That is
I
just
said,
hurtful.
I said, this is where this child is, miss. I said, Dr. Spencer, are you crazy? And I asked him, listen what I asked Dr. Spencer. You giving her medication. Is she crazy? No. I said, she's not crazy, right? No, up to now, until now, I have that medication. I watch up the side effects. It's so terrible.
Medication for her.
To calm her, they said. But what is happening? I realized this is what happened. One time I give her the medication, they asked me to give her. That child almost root up a tree, you know. She didn't beat me.
Yes.
She went and fight with a tree.
Yes.
Not me. So I'm like, oh, she said, don't give me, Miss Modeste, don't, because I wanted her to be calm that day, because I wanted her quietness. So I willingly give her. I told him, I said, listen to me. I would not give her. I said, Dr. Spencer, I used to give her, you know what I used to give her? There was a Rasta guy I get hops from. So what I did, I asked him for medication to reverse, to calm her down. When I started to give her that, she was more calm. I talked to him and I showed him the name of the medication that I gave her and explained to him what was going on with her.
Medication.
And he gave me the hub.
Because it's not like she is the way she is because she has a mental illness. She is that way because of the environment in which
That's right. I told him that.
She doesn't know how else to behave. And they give her mind-altering drugs.
I
mean, that,
well,
I find that.
Well, the other thing that's, I know. The other thing too is that, in what dosage did they give it to her?
But
Because, what's good for an adult is not necessarily the same dosage you'll give a child.
Who prescribed that for her? Who sat with her? Who diagnosed her?
My head hurts.
Who came to
I'm telling you.
That she
this scares me.
Let me tell you something I learned.
Scary.
I'm going to tell you something what I learned from dealing with them. No. They will call you to something, right? And when you, the only person I could be very honest with you, that gave me a real open, talk was Mrs. Dabio. Thank God. I see her there now. She's trying her best. I don't know what is happening because, I told her, I say, you are there. I know you're from school with your children and you're very good. Try your best. But there are some people in there until they move out, I think, because that's the stone wall. I've been hating them so much that what I had to do by much talking to myself and praying, I went back and said, miss, I want to say to you, I come back here because I feel led to come back to tell you all, I forgive you all. And I was very honest. She said, oh my God, miss, you I say, yes, I hated you all. Not in that sense. I would not tell you all any problem. I've been dealing with kids for 28 years. Would you believe me? I've been teaching swimming and athletics for 28 years. I was a child who was hurt and abused. They don't know that. I never talked that, right? I was abused and I was hurt and I used to keep things inside of me and I wanted to kill my father. Nobody knows that. But God changed my heart. And I think I want to do something positive. I saw my mother is dead. And I said, when I talking, I don't give my sisters and them here. My mother is dead. Probably I feel how she was alive and I say it. She's dead. Let me tell you, she pulled me out in a church and break up my hand for going to church. Would you believe that? At the age of 13. So you expect me to feel how these kids feeling, right? 13 years. You know where I live? With people. They did not treat me good too. You know who treat me good? And I will say it on public air, and everybody know him. You might know. Pastor Selwyn Halen and his wife treat me like a good. They discipline me. At times I give them trouble, but he have days when his wife say, "Oh God," She know what to say. But you know what happened? That helped me to be better. Today, why I'm standing like this, I say thank God for them. For them. Yes. I know I come from good I can't listen, I come from good, let's say, well-to-do family. Mr. Grant know them. Anthony Hall was my grand uncle. Right? So I won't say more. And I come from, but again, people see you, some will help you and some will keep you on the ground to fight for yourself. And I like that. Because I like to do things for myself. So nobody say point a finger because of who I grew up. So that is why I decided to make a difference. Nobody knows. When I used to run, ask Mr. Francis and them. I didn't even bother with. I trained for myself. I say they like convent and high school, whatever. I was in high school. I make the mark for myself. I used to train in the night. Nobody sees me when I train. But what I do when I go on the track, I know I will share licks. That's the kind of mind I had. You see, what has been happening? I see the abuse, and I'm trying, what could I do to better it? Now, the kids in school right now, I have some kids dealing with. The police tell me today, I went by them and chat about something. I was talking to them. I move all around, miss, in the social place with the police today. And I said to them, miss, if you know information and I tell you all. She said, well, we going to lock you up. I said, I go challenge all if all they want to lock me up. I told her that. Because, you call some of them, you tell them the issue. We call child protection one day and say to them, this child is abused in that house in X place. You know what they did? They stay in the office and call the house. So what them people will tell them? What the people going to tell them? The child is still in the house, miss. And sirs, the child is still. So how do you want me to tell them stuff? That doesn't make sense. They say, no, we're trying to do this. Yes. Show me that you want to do it. I did not talk on your program last week for a reason. The same little girl, well, again, my husband may be here in the house. He did not know I went to Backless home on Saturday. I was up there. He didn't know. I left the house here.
You don't know.
But my husband know I just do crazy stuff in the sense that crazy good stuff. He think I'm mad, but he understand me now because I'm settling down a bit, I'm reminiscing. 28 years now, going through that within Carriacou and Petit-Matic and Grenada. And it's like I'm alone here. But I said, Mr. Grant, and you all know why you all have me on the program. I don't know why. Up to now, I don't even know the lady that is speaking to me, Miss Sinclair. I really never meet her. Never. But a call came in my house. I say Caribbean, I don't like to talk for people hear me. So probably now's the time for people to hear me. Because this disruption in our country too, I don't even know what to say. The people are so hurting. I am so hurting. My husband is a teacher. But what can I say? I told the union man, listen to me carefully. Some people might say they don't believe in God, but you see me? Watch what will happen in this country. Watch. Some people like to say this man, this. I not saying none is what. I told God, any side the pendulum swing, hit it. Because some of us lie too much. No, I'm honest. And if one person is praying, I am trying to pray honestly for this nation. Because too much wickedness. I know about 74 crisis, I was in school young. So I'm 50 already. When we get tear gas by Mother Rose School. Yes. So I am so hot sometimes. I say, Lord, help me to stay calm. When I hear all these things, this child is up there. When I went there, she said the lady boxing her. And I challenged the lady. I said, Miss, I want to talk to you. I said, you know this child. That's the second time she tell me this when I come here. Because she gave trouble, the girls up there is beating her. So she going to fight them. I know they can't handle her. A police alone could not have put that child in a van. A police alone. She have plus with her. Not she alone that is walking. She walking with legions on her. And if she don't get the right remedy, she's going to kill them up there. And I told them that. Before they brought her there, I said she's going to kill all you up there. Because she fight like a man. And she's only shot. She shot like a little dog, but she fight like a man. It's not her alone that is fighting. They don't understand that.
Hold on, Rachel. We have to take a break on Mek We Chat, and then we'll come back for our few remaining moments.
Okay, good job. I feel good.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our spice side.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Very fascinating story. In fact, I caught.
Oh my God. So,
it's a fascinating story and it is troubling on so many sides. Very, very troubling.
I missed something else. You know what I missed? I got a call in November, right? That's just before the Christmas. My phone ringing. I'm saying, oh, hello? I'm calling from the bank, blah, blah, blah. I say, oh, we would like you to come to discuss the children behavior. I'm like, oh yes? You all don't remember me? And then they're like, oh, they never called me. I said that the kids would call me. They will talk to the grandmother. Grandmother will give me messages for them. And nobody called me. But to discuss the behavior, you know why? Time for them to leave them. They said Child Protection said something like, I'm quoting what was said, right? There's not a place for them. They asked to hold them there.
Thing to say about it.
Yeah.
But if you have a woman who is not capable of even taking care of herself, getting pregnant, she keeps having children.
That's right.
She can't take care of herself, she can't take care of the children. At what point do you just tie her tubes when she goes into the hospital?
Exactly.
But you know, Beverly, that crossed my mind, but I didn't want to say it because you know what instantly came to my mind was Indira Gandhi in India.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, people will be all over you for that. But I mean,
that's
where
all the holy
is
other
people?
people
Yeah,
who are
exactly.
not helping these children.
I agree with that.
Who would not lift a finger to help these children. Not only are they not helping, you know, they wouldn't help.
True.
Because it's going to disturb them in their comfort zone. And we know that there are some people who ain't leaving the comfort zone for nothing.
Yeah,
correct.
It's true.
So at what point does she go into the hospital? Because I'm sure she's not giving birth to these children by the roadside. Going into an institution to give birth, and you must have it on record. You must know that she can't take care of herself. You must know that she can't take care of the children.
Exactly.
Because if she could take care of herself, she would probably, you know, engage in some kind of family planning.
Of course.
Something so that she doesn't keep having these children. So at one point, do the authorities step in and say, okay, let's contact the family, let's contact whoever and let them know we have to tie the tubes because this can't continue.
Yeah, and it's true.
The approach in these islands is something I've queried. They look at the age of the person, and then what they say is, oh, it's the person's right.
Exactly.
Now, whether that's
and the adults.
Yeah.
And
they can help themselves.
It goes beyond. I would like. I mean, yes, there's the person's right, but I think you also have a responsibility to look at the person's
I agree
competence.
With you. I agree with you.
You
but
know,
I'm telling you what
that
doctors
is
have told me.
Yeah, and
That's
that
what
is
they've told
something
me.
that I know that courts here also take into consideration whether or not a person is mentally, you know, competent and able to make certain decisions for themselves and to do those things.
Exactly.
You know, and I mean, there's a problem that and the other thing that's bugging me is the men that would take advantage, because I am seeing it. I'm not calling it anything other than taking advantage, because you cannot enter into a relationship of equals with somebody like that.
I don't think so.
That's not to do the relationship.
They have
No, I know, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I hear you. But what I'm saying,
it's
no, I
not
hear
from
what
a
you, right?
position of equality at all.
It's just a nature call. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Yes, it's true.
These men have zero intention of being in any kind of relationship with her, because apart from the father, which Rachel would have met, and he's also someone who needs some kind of care.
They were scared of him, you know.
You know, those 3 children they have together, maybe they were trying to have some kind of relationship, but were not capable. You know, they weren't capable because obviously they need help. Society turns their back on them, and if you try to do something responsible to say at least ensure that she doesn't have any more children, because she's not getting younger, even if she gets treatment, even if she turns herself around, by the time she gets into her 40s, into her 50s, there's no need for her to go and have any more children.
You know what? You know what the doctor told me in a situation like that? Suppose the man who she meets wants to have a child.
Just cannot.
No, I'm serious.
You know,
I've been there.
I know, but he is referring to a woman who can take care of herself and take care of a child.
You think so?
We are talking here about a woman who cannot take care of herself, cannot take care of a child, and she will be abused, raped, taken advantage of, and will have children. And those children are left at the mercy.
Exactly. And that's the other question. I mean, you're talking about the woman and the woman's rights, but what about the child?
Children.
No, but that's what I'm saying, because that is how far, many times, when I've had this conversation, that's how far it goes. It goes only to the woman's right, but the society impact, the child, nobody seems to care beyond that. And there's some conversations we don't have in our Caribbean society. And that's one of them. That's one of them.
Because and that is why I say this thing is troubling on so many levels, on so many sides. Because here is Rachel now, come across this situation with these children, going to the agencies that she believes should help. Ministry of Social Services, Child Welfare Authority, the police, these organizations that you think should offer some help. And within these organizations, you will find individuals, as she have named a few, who will, do what they're supposed to do, number one. And
Out of the
number
goodness
two,
of their heart.
right,
Excuse
number
me.
one.
You
And
know what
number
happens? You know what happens? Right now, that house that they asked, I mean, they had a little family issue. The guy has a piece of land at the back. Now, right now, they want these kids to leave Bacolet, but still they're coming out to give problems because they have nowhere to stay as yet. That house is not yet built. They're trying to stress the poor grandmother. The grandmother not even able. She's sick with her heart and something. So poor grandmother does try, but she's sick. So it's me she calling. She tell them straight, I am the mother. She tell them that.
right. So even if that house was to be built on that property, who are they releasing the children to?
Exactly.
To you? It has to be to you. Because obviously their father can't take care of them. Their mother can't. The grandmother you just mentioned can't. So if they're going to release these children, in whose care?
Exactly.
And I'm wondering because sometimes you go to them and they're so hostile. No, I was in the traffic and I'm glad it happened. But if my phone was out, I would have just take a picture quick with the van. But I didn't have my phone in my hand. The guy said, what is she? When I look, I say, oh, she work in social development, in child protection. I said, what's she name again? Or in the office. She act like a big bulldog. And the man said she face always wrong. I said, they has problems a lot. I said, let's pray for them. I was honest. And I'm glad. That was last week there. You know what happened? Something she started act up with the man. I said, look, and then I said she looking after kids. So what they getting? Yes, and I should have taken the picture. I just have it ready. So when I come to talk, I tell them they challenge me, put me to the jail, and I will win them. I don't call their names. I give you the facts. And I write down some dates. Because, people scared to talk but I was abused. A lot of things I don't say. And I know how they feel.
Yeah.
I went to school. Miss, I was in school in high school. And that girl said, Miss, my stepfather must have sex with me. And I'm like, and mom, I say, and then what she tell me, child protection, no. I say, in truth. Say, in truth. So I leave it rest. Because they will put me in the jail again. And the child want to come and live with me. So you all need to just have a piece of land, get us off of us 70,000. And believe you me, if 4 of us work together, they go pay us to look after them. Because I go work in Grenada and I will send the money for all you. I'm honest. Because right now, if I get a building, parents will send their kids to me. They believe in me. Karaku children, they believe in me. You know why? When I talk to them, I don't say, you're bad, you're wicked. I will say, come. I say, no, you don't have to behave like that. Let's talk. And I get them, I appease their mind. I don't hardly ever tell them, come to church, serve God. I don't tell them that sometimes, I don't tell them that,
No, you don't need to.
Yeah, they don't.
I don't tell them.
They don't
When
need
they
to
come
do
to
that.
me,
That's not
I
what they
start to
want
give
to
them word. I said, Jesus could fix it for you. He could change your story. He could do this for you. I said, I used to try to smoke paper. I said, you know why? I was living with my father. He used to sell the drugs, but I never smoke it. But he that helped me when my mother break up my hand for going to church. So I stick with him. I drinking wheat tea and I didn't even know. When I say, what is tea? It make me feel like drunk. He said, die them thing only them church people don't want. I said, whoa, you're drinking weed now. So you see? So I went through some stuff. My sister and mommy didn't even know that. I never said nothing. I never said anything. But these kids that are hurting now, and I make up my mind. I said, God, even though it takes me alone, I will be a lone ranger. I will pray, and I know I will get to be. The name of Jesus is bigger than anything else. I tell them, Rolana, Joshua, and Jaron will be something in this nation, a change people.
Amen.
Because there's still history, They're inside there. No, they're inside there getting, so she's getting beat up, they're getting rough up. A certain worker right there tell me it is true. The same day, So that's why I asked him. Oh, I shouldn't say him. I asked because I said, do you know XYZ happening? He said, oh, shucks. Yes, because it's different people. I say, you're sure right. Different people, and these different people need Jesus. They need God to help them. So, right now, the only solution for this problem and all what the teachers and them going through is Jesus. And let me tell you, the little maid in the house, that's why he said he takes the foolish things of this world to confirm wise men. Men who think they know it. They had a book paper. That pushed me to do counseling. Push me.
Yeah.
I went and do counseling in UWE, and I'm going back to do certain things again. So if they challenge me,
Rachel,
what paper soon?
we thank you for joining us
Thank
this
you very
evening,
much.
and we expect that this will not be the last,
Oh, when you're ready, I'm available.
as there is so much to talk about child care and the protection.
Well, Beverly, before you go, let me say this. She says that the children comes to her naturally because children understand love. It's what they expect. They respond to that. It's what they expect. It's like a plant and light. It goes towards the light. That's it. It's amazing that people can't even recognize that.
Yes, I mean.
And that's why I say, we sometimes within our own personal space, maybe we can reach out to someone like Rachel, reach out to someone and just try to make
You have to find a way to do that.
For these children, because the society is already the way it is. You don't need another generation of angry young people coming up in society at all. We don't need that. We need to really show some love and some care to our young people so that they can learn how to show love and care to others, and see if we can tone down and calm down the society a little bit.
We need that by much praying. I'm doing it. I'm praying that God help you all too, because I think you all doing a great job. I mean, knowing this, I never knew this was happening. So some nights I will tune in whenever it's your Wednesdays or
Thursdays.
And listen to your program, because this is very interesting. From what I heard when I came in, they all have concerns like me too. Probably in a different light, but that's what we need. Each one work together, and help.
That's
one.
right.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about, this program. Yes, Richard. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here, to highlight these problems.
And I'm not scared to talk, so I get the boldness now because I got it from the Lord, I could talk.
Yes.
Bless you, darling.
I appreciate it so much.
And thank you for the work you're doing.
Thanks.
Thank you for the work you're doing with the children, because you are helping to create a better society.
Thank you.
And we'll find a way to support you, Rachel.
Yes.
Somewhere or the other, we'll find a way to support you.
Thank you. Yes, because right now I have a next one, a new case, but I will know it on a little later. I have a new case. Only last week.
All right.
Okay. All the best.
care.
Have a great night. Hi, Mr. Grant. Bye.
Bye.
Can you all to dance again? Everybody, bye.
Well, folks, we've run out of time, and I really want to thank you so much for having joined us and for having shared. I mean, I'm sitting here. Part of me wants to get really angry, Rachel. No, I'm serious.
I understand. I feel that way sometimes.
Yeah, but stay with it, okay? You're doing a great job. Don't come down. No matter who tell you come down, you're doing a great job. Step there, do it, okay?
Thank you.
We'll see how we could help you.
Okay.
George, once again, thanks for being at Master Control, and for everybody here on All the Suspects. On behalf of them all, I'm Jerry George saying, join us again next week, God willing, for another edition of Mek We Chat.